They never wanted you to hear this. There's a reason they flood your mind with noise. Social media, endless opinions, hollow advice, manufactured success stories designed to keep you chasing a version of life that isn't even real. You've been programmed, not by accident, by design. Because if you ever paused long enough, if you ever sat in silence and listened to your own soul, you'd realize just how powerful you are, and that terrifies them. You were born into a world built on distraction. From the moment you opened your eyes, they fed you rules. Speak only when spoken to, stay in line, fit in, chase approval, and they smiled while doing it, as if they were doing you a favor. But deep down, something never felt right. Something whispered behind the noise, a quiet knowing that there was more strength, more truth, more you. This speech is not safe. It's not motivational in the way you've been conditioned to expect. It's a warning shot to mediocrity, a declaration of war against everything that's diluted you. This is the moment you stop explaining yourself and start executing in silence. Because when you grow in silence, you don't just evolve, you become untouchable. Let me tell you something they won't. The strongest men and women you'll ever meet are the ones you never heard coming. Because true power doesn't announce itself. It moves like a shadow, quiet, disciplined, relentless. While others chase applause, they build legacies in the dark. You see their transformation later, but you never saw the work. That's what you're about to become, a silent storm. There's a reason your life feels stuck. It's not because you're not good enough. It's because you've been bleeding your energy into everything and everyone that doesn't serve your evolution. And worse, you've been loud about things that should have stayed sacred, talking about your dreams, over-explaining your boundaries, seeking validation for goals they were never meant to understand. Stop. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Not everyone should know what you're building. Some dreams die the moment they're spoken out loud to the wrong ears. There are people in your life who smile at your potential, but secretly pray you never figure it out. Keep your power where it belongs, within. The first law of silent growth is this: own your mornings like your life depends on it, because it does. You don't roll over and grab your phone. You rise like a soldier. You claim the first hour of your day before the world gets its hands on you. Movement, reading, journaling, solitude, intention. This isn't a wellness hack. It's a battlefield ritual, because the world isn't waiting to help you. It's waiting to distract you. And if you don't train your mind before sunrise, someone else will train it for you all day long. Stop negotiating with your lower self. That voice that says 5 more minutes isn't your friend. It's your executioner. You want power? You want success? It starts with discipline. Repetitive, unsexy, lonely discipline. The kind that nobody claps for, but everyone eventually respects. You need to reprogram your biology. Turn your mornings into a war room. No scrolling, no reacting, just building, quietly, methodically, daily. There's no need to tell the world what you're working on. Let them wonder. Because when the world finally sees what you've become, it'll be too late for them to catch up. Now listen closely. The next time you feel the urge to announce your next move, bite your tongue. Channel that energy into execution. Let your silence become your shield. Let your work become your weapon. Every second wasted explaining yourself to the wrong audience is a second stolen from the future you're meant to claim. This is not just about motivation. This is about awakening. And the only way forward is quietly. You think the enemy is failure? It's not. The real enemy is noise, mental clutter, emotional pollution, spiritual static that keeps you blind to your own potential. And here's the most disturbing part. Most of it comes from people you call friends, family, colleagues, influencers, people who say they want to see you win, as long as your victory doesn't remind them of their loss. Silence then becomes not just a habit, it becomes protection. People can only manipulate what they can predict. So when you become unreadable, untraceable, when your patterns shift in silence, they lose control. That's when you start to win, not because you're louder, but because you're untouchable. You've stopped feeding them your emotional blueprints. You've stopped reacting. That's how you reclaim power, by mastering your response. And that's where boundaries come in. Not soft ones, not polite ones. I'm talking about steel-reinforced walls around your time, your energy, your vision. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing yourself. You owe it to yourself to stop explaining. When they ask why you've been quiet, say nothing. Let them sit in the discomfort of your distance. Because the minute you break your silence to soothe their confusion, you shrink. And you've done enough shrinking for one lifetime. You are not rude. You are rebuilding. You are not cold. You are in command. Understand this. Saying no is not an act of cruelty. It's an act of clarity. Every yes you give to the unaligned is a betrayal of the person you're trying to become. Say no to fake friendships. Say no to distractions disguised as obligations. Say no to the old version of you begging to stay comfortable. People won't like it. They're not supposed to. You're breaking a pattern they benefited from. They called you reliable because you were easy to access. They called you loyal because you never said no. They called you sweet because you suppressed your truth. Let that version die. Quietly, without apology. Here's the truth. There are two kinds of silence. One is passive, a silence of fear, avoidance, shrinking. The other is active, a silence of precision, dominance, evolution. You're here to master the second one. That's how real power moves. Unseen, unannounced, undeniable. You want to be powerful? Learn to disappear from rooms where your spirit feels small. Withdraw your energy from people who misuse your kindness. Deny access to anything that doesn't multiply your focus. The moment you set real boundaries, everything shifts. You no longer move from pressure, guilt, or obligation. You move from alignment, vision, and strategy. The world will adjust to the new you, or it won't. That's not your concern. You're not here to be digestible. You're here to become undeniable. Let me give you something most people never hear. You don't have to burn out to be worthy. You don't have to be available to be valuable. Your silence is sacred. Stop handing it out like loose change. Every boundary you draw in silence becomes a brick in the fortress of your future. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not every conversation deserves a response. Not every invitation deserves a yes. If it costs you peace, it's too expensive. This section isn't just about boundaries. It's about breaking the addiction to approval. Once you detach from needing to be liked, you become lethal, free, focused. And here's what I want you to do right now. If you're still with me, if you're ready to move differently from this moment forward, comment this below. My silence is my power. Type it twice. Burn it into your identity. Because when you build in silence, you don't just grow, you become unrecognizable. And that's the point. Keep watching. It only gets deeper from here. You've been tricked. Every time you talk about your plans, every time you announce what you're going to do, your brain gets a dopamine hit. It feels like progress, but it's not. You've done nothing. You've moved no closer to the future. You just felt good for saying it out loud. That's the trap. This is how most people die with their potential still inside them, because they mistook talking for doing. They thought sharing was building, and they were wrong. If you want to become elite, you must learn this rule. Stop announcing. Start executing. Your next move should be silent, hidden, ruthless. Let them think you've gone soft. Let them assume you've given up. Smile when they call you lazy, unfocused, unmotivated, because they're not supposed to see what you're building. Not yet. You're not just stacking habits, you're stacking ammunition, quietly. So when the moment comes, you don't just win. You obliterate the version of you they thought they knew. Every time you tell the world what you're about to do, you give away leverage. And worst of all, you weaken your relationship with yourself. Because you get used to the feeling of progress without the pain of earning it. That's how you end up chasing highs instead of building results. Your discipline doesn't need to be seen. Your hunger doesn't need applause. Your obsession should be invisible. There's a reason you're being pulled to silence right now. It's not withdrawal. It's refinement. You're outgrowing environments where being loud was rewarded. You're stepping into a frequency where only energy speaks, and energy doesn't lie. When you walk into a room, they'll feel the shift, even if they can't explain it. That's what silent power does. It shakes the space without making a sound. And here's the dangerous part. Once you stop speaking your plans, people stop preparing for your arrival. They let their guard down. And while they're distracted talking about what they want, you're already becoming it. This is why people fear the quiet one. Because quiet isn't passive. Quiet is calculating. Quiet is patience married to fire. Quiet is transformation in the shadows. You don't owe the world an explanation for why you disappeared. You don't owe your past self a final goodbye. You're not supposed to narrate your journey. You're supposed to live it. Silence is your strategy now. While they're talking, you're training. While they're posting, you're planning. While they're proving, you're perfecting. And when it's time, you won't announce it. You'll arrive, fully formed, unrecognizable, relentless. So don't make this about motivation. Motivation fades. This is about transformation. The kind that doesn't need a microphone, the kind that moves like a storm beneath calm waters. You must train yourself to love silence like oxygen, to crave it, because that's where the real work happens, where doubt dies, where identity shifts, where empires are born. Your silence will confuse people. Let it. They'll think you're lost. Let them. They'll underestimate you. Let them. They don't need to see it coming. They just need to feel the quake when it hits. Talk less. Execute more. And remember, there is no reward for being loud, only for being dangerous. Let this be your moment of vanishing, because when you return, you won't just be different. You'll be undeniable. Keep watching. The descent continues. There's a truth most never uncover. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is. You don't get better just by knowing more. You evolve by using what you know, ruthlessly, consistently, obsessively. The people you envy, the ones who seem to operate on another level, they're not smarter. They're just more intentional. They don't waste time chasing trends. They go deep. They study the game. They master themselves in silence. Let me be clear. The world doesn't care how many books you've read if you haven't become something because of them. The certificates, the podcasts, the courses, they're worthless if you don't embody what you've learned. And yet most people stay stuck in information addiction. They consume, scroll, save posts, nod in agreement, then go right back to being who they were. That's not learning. That's procrastination disguised as productivity. If you want to build yourself quietly, you must become a student of the game. And by game, I mean life. You must become addicted to growth, not flashy growth, deep, silent, brutal growth. The kind of growth that doesn't look good on social media, but rewires your soul. Here's the secret no one teaches. Every moment is a classroom if you're paying attention. That uncomfortable conversation, lesson. That failure, curriculum. That lonely season you're in right now, final exam. And if you're smart, you'll stop waiting for a mentor and start letting life teach you. What are you feeding your mind? Be ruthless about it. Remove the noise. Replace entertainment with education. Stop spending hours watching people live their dreams and start executing on your own. You are drowning in information, but starving for transformation. And it's because you've forgotten this. Knowing isn't doing. Quiet builders don't wait to be taught. They hunt for wisdom. They extract it, apply it, bleed for it. And here's what separates the Eli. They don't skip the basics. They master them. While everyone else chases shortcuts and secrets, they're sharpening the fundamentals, reading daily, journaling their patterns, practicing presence, studying human nature. They're building a mind that can't be manipulated and a soul that can't be broken. And guess what? They do it in silence. No cameras, no applause, just brutal self-honesty and relentless action. You want to build in silence? Then make learning your religion. Study yourself. Study discipline. Study suffering. Study what breaks you and what rebuilds you. Because when you understand your own mind, no one else can control it. Do this daily, even 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes of truth. 10 minutes of sharpening. 10 minutes that separate you from the 99% who are still scrolling, still talking, still stuck. You think learning is boring? That's because you're addicted to dopamine. But when you rewire your brain to love growth over gratification, you become unstoppable. And here's your task. Pick one truth you've learned today and act on it. Not tomorrow, now. Build in silence, but apply with fire. You're not here to be a collector of facts. You're here to become a weapon forged in knowledge and wielded with precision. Keep descending. The next layer is darker, deeper. The silence is about to test you. Keep watching. Most people don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they're bored. They chase new routines, new hacks, new answers. Because sticking with one path feels too quiet, too repetitive, too ordinary. But listen closely. The ones who transform, the ones who become something, are the ones who show up when it's boring. Discipline doesn't live in the excitement of beginnings. It lives in the monotony of repetition. And this is where most people tap out. They confuse progress with passion. They think results come from motivation. But the truth is colder than that. Results come from boring, brutal consistency. Let me tell you what elite performers do differently. They don't negotiate with the day. They don't ask themselves how they feel. They don't rely on excitement. They rely on a non-negotiable system. They build habits so embedded into their identity that missing a day feels like self-betrayal. While others are waiting to feel it, they're executing quietly, mechanically, relentlessly. Nobody claps for you when you show up tired. Nobody posts a quote when you stay consistent through heartbreak. Nobody celebrates when you push through silence and solitude. But that's where the real work lives. In the dark, in the repetition, in the quiet moments where you keep showing up anyway. You want a different life? Then build different days. Stack them, guard them, repeat them. And this is what separates you from the world. You don't need motivation. you move without it. Because the truth is, motivation is emotional. Discipline is spiritual. It's the voice in your head that says, get up when everything in you wants to rest. It's the whisper that says, again, when you've already failed 19 times. It's the promise to your future self that you're not going to die full of potential. Let that settle. You don't get to tap out just because it's hard. The version of you you're becoming is watching every single day. You have to stop chasing intensity and start worshiping consistency. Intensity gets you noticed. Consistency gets you results. There is no moment when it suddenly becomes easy. There is no magical morning when you wake up completely inspired. There's just you and your system and the decision to follow through. That's what silent growth looks like. It's boring. It's unsexy. It's lonely. But it's unbeatable. Because here's what they won't tell you. Success is not a single event. It's not a launch, a speech, a viral post. It's 1,000 small acts of self-respect, 1,000 tiny wins that nobody sees, stacked daily, until one day you look up and don't even recognize yourself. And here's the most powerful part. While everyone else is waiting for their moment, you're building yours, quietly, patiently, relentlessly. That's what makes you dangerous. You're not relying on luck. You're relying on compound interest in your habits, your mindset, your execution. So stop asking if it's working. Keep showing up. You're not here for a dopamine hit. You're here to become unshakable. You've made it this far. And the deeper we go, the fewer remain. Keep going. Section 6 will burn through your illusions. And what's on the other side? Power no one saw coming. Everything you are begins in your mind. And if you don't protect your mind, if you don't fortify it, cleanse it, command it, then you will build your life on a rotting foundation. Let me strip away the illusion. It's not your talent. It's not your body. It's not your background. It's your inner voice. What do you say to yourself when no one's watching? What plays on repeat when the lights go out? That script, that unconscious loop, that's either your greatest weapon or your silent executioner. Most people walk through life with a mind infected by doubt, fear, shame, comparison. And they wonder why they can't move forward. They think it's circumstance, but it's not. It's internal sabotage. It's their mindset strangling their potential from the inside. You want to build quietly? You want to grow in silence? Then you must clean house. You must audit every belief, every assumption, every lie that you swallowed from childhood, culture, failure, pain. You must become surgical with your thoughts. Slice out the noise. Reconstruct the narrative. Because here's the truth. No one gives you straight. Your life will never outperform your self-image. You can't outwork a mind that believes you're unworthy. You can't out-hustle a voice inside that says you're still not enough. So rewire it. Replace doubt with discipline. Replace fear with forward motion. Replace comparison with laser-sharp focus. You are not broken. You are buried beneath layers of programming you never chose. It's time to unlearn. Start simple. Speak with intention. Every day, tell your mind what it's becoming, not what it's fearing. Say it out loud. I am building. I am evolving. I am no longer explaining. It will feel fake at first. That's normal. But identity is built through repetition, not belief. You say it long enough, you start to live it. You live it long enough, the world bends around it. You can't build anything great with a weak mindset. That's why most people crumble under pressure. They never train the voice inside. Train it. Start your day with truth, not notifications. End your night with gratitude, not anxiety. Replace every self-attack with a self-command. This isn't affirmation fluff. This is warfare. Because the world will try to poison your mind daily with distractions, with judgment, with illusions of success. But you're building an unshakable fortress. That means boundaries. That means rituals. That means ruthlessly eliminating anything that pollutes your clarity. You cannot afford toxic people. You cannot afford spiritual laziness. You cannot afford emotional leaks. You're not just protecting peace, you're protecting power. You think this is extreme? Good, because mediocrity is loud and soft. But greatness is quiet and relentless. There's a shift that happens when you stop entertaining your old mind. It screams, it resists, it begs you to come back to comfort. Don't starve it. Feed the new mind, the focused mind, the fortified mind, and that mind will build a future so terrifyingly powerful, even your enemies will go silent. You've rebuilt your mornings. You've guarded your time. You've stopped talking. You've started learning. You've stayed consistent. Now you've forged the foundation. Your mind is no longer a battlefield. It's a command center. And from here on out, you don't move emotionally. You move strategically. Next comes the manipulation you were never meant to see. Keep watching. You've been manipulated and you didn't even know it. From the second you were old enough to want something, the world began weaponizing your desires. Schools trained you to obey, not to think. Media taught you to crave, not to create. Social apps rewired your dopamine, rewarding you for exposure, not execution. And you called it life. But let's call it what it really is, programming. And if you don't break the code, you'll die brilliant and broke. Talented but tamed, alive but never awakened. Let me expose the truth they don't want you to hear. You're not lazy, you're distracted, and not by accident, by design. They've manipulated your biology, your instincts, your psychology. They feed you hits of validation, likes, views, attention, and slowly they turn you into a slave to the algorithm, not just on your phone, but in life. They teach you to perform, not to evolve, to be seen, not to become. And all the while, you wonder why your goals feel out of reach. It's because they've fed you just enough pleasure to keep you numb, just enough attention to keep you asleep. That's how the system works. They sell you cheap dopamine to keep you docile. They teach you dependence so you never chase independence. They flood your brain with noise so you never hear your own voice. And while you're caught in that loop, you forget who you are. Let me remind you, you are not meant to be consumed. You are meant to be constructed. But that can only happen in silence, in the dark, away from their influence. You want to build yourself quietly? Then you must deprogram your mind. You must unplug from the lie that visibility equals value. You must cut the puppet strings. How? By starving the machine. No more mindless scrolling. No more emotional reactions. No more external permission slips. You move on your time now. You build on your terms now. You create rituals, not routines. Systems, not streaks. Self-respect, not self-display. The manipulators are clever. They'll call your silence falling off. They'll say you changed. They'll try to guilt you back into the matrix. But stay cold, stay calculated, stay quiet. Because here's what they can't control. A person who no longer needs validation. A person who is focused, deliberate, dangerous. A person who is building silently while the world screams for attention. You've begun your withdrawal. That's good. But understand, when you unplug from the noise will come looking for you. Old habits will try to seduce you. Toxic people will resurface. The urge to be seen will come like a storm, but you don't break. You fortify. You weren't born to play their game. You were born to build your own. So now, every time you feel the pull to perform, to impress, to explain, pause. Go silent. Ask yourself, who benefits if I stay distracted? Who profits if I stay predictable? And then choose again. Because you're no longer a consumer of chaos. You're a constructor of discipline. You're no longer the manipulated. You're the mastermind. The old you would have stopped here. The new you, you're just getting started. Section 8 is next, and it will teach you how to bend time itself. Keep watching. You're becoming someone they never saw coming. Here's a truth so dangerous, so rarely spoken, that most people will go their entire lives without realizing it. Time is not real. At least not in the way you were taught. They told you it's fixed, that a minute is always a minute, that an hour is always 60 minutes long, that a day is a box you're supposed to fill, and if you run out of it, you lose. But that's a lie. Time doesn't move at the same speed for everyone. It bends for the disciplined. It vanishes for the distracted. And it rewards the obsessed. This is why two people can wake up at the same hour and live completely different lives by sundown. One fills their hours with growth, with precision, with purpose. The other drowns in distraction, in noise, in regret. They both had 24 hours, but one of them bent time. You want to grow in silence? You want to build yourself quietly? Then you must learn to control the flow of time. Not with calendars, not with planners, but with identity. Because your use of time reflects who you believe you are. If you believe you're a victim of life, you'll kill time, waste it, escape it. If you believe you're a builder, you'll weaponize it. Every minute becomes sacred. Every hour becomes an asset. Here's how you take command. Create sacred windows, time blocks that are non-negotiable. This is not schedule stuff. This is ritual. 1 hour a day that belongs to your highest self. It doesn't matter if it's 4 a.m. or midnight. That hour is the forge. That's where the new you is built. Identify your time leaks. These are the silent assassins. Social scrolling, emotional reactivity, checking your phone out of habit. Every one of them is a thief. You don't need more hours. You need to seal the leaks. Destroy multitasking. The world taught you that juggling 10 things means you're productive. It doesn't. It means you're distracted on 10 fronts. Mastery lives in single task intensity. When you're working, you're working. When you're thinking, you're thinking. One focus, full presence, relentless intensity. This is how you make a day feel like a week. This is how you pass the world while they sleepwalk through life. You don't need more time. You need more clarity. And that clarity, it comes from silence. Not just silence from others, but silence within. When your mind is still, your moves become fast. When your intentions are clean, your hours become powerful. When your spirit is unshaken, your time becomes a weapon. You're not just managing time anymore. You're bending it. While others age with nothing to show for it, you're compounding, quietly, ruthlessly, masterfully. So here's your next shift. Stop saying, I don't have time. Start saying, it's not a priority, because your time goes where your loyalty lives. And if you're loyal to distractions, you're betraying your future. Every second is a vote. Cast it for the person you're becoming, not the person you're escaping. This is how the elite move. They don't chase time, they command it. And while the world runs in circles, trapped by the illusion of a ticking clock, you're walking a straight path, straight into power. Next is section 9. It's where we dig up what you've buried. It's where your past stops haunting and starts serving. Keep watching. We're almost at the threshold of transformation. You've buried it, haven't you? The failure, the shame, the betrayal, the version of you that broke. You thought if you pushed it deep enough, it would disappear. But it didn't. It followed you, quietly, like a shadow in every silent moment. And now, whether you admit it or not, it's controlling you. But listen closely. What you don't face owns you. What you don't heal repeats. And what you don't transform becomes your ceiling. This is the moment where most turn back, because the silence starts to echo with old pain. They feel it rising and they run, back to noise, back to comfort, back to pretending. But not you. You didn't come this far just to avoid yourself again. This is the confrontation. If you want to build yourself quietly, truly build, not just upgrade, not just improve, you must enter the basement of your past and dig. Not to dwell, not to blame, but to unearth the roots of your power. You want to know why your self-discipline cracks? Why your focus fractures? Why your vision blurs when it's time to execute? It's not because you're weak. It's because you're wounded and you never faced it. The failure you never got over. The rejection that rewired your self-worth. The heartbreak that hardened you. The belief planted long ago that maybe you're not enough. But I'll tell you something most people won't. Your pain is not the enemy. It's the blueprint. Everything you need to build the next version of yourself is buried in the ruins of the last one. That moment you fell, there was a lesson in it. That betrayal, a boundary. That heartbreak, a rebirth. If you look closely, if you have the courage to go back, you'll find the fragments of who you were meant to become scattered through your past. All you have to do is stop running. Sit with it, not for pity, for clarity. Ask yourself, what did this teach me about me? What lie did I start telling myself? After this moment, what truth did I bury to survive? Then take that truth, Visha, and reclaim it. Because this is the real silence. Not the kind you hear when the room goes quiet. The kind that falls over your soul when you stop pretending. In that stillness, you meet your real self. Not the performer, not the version you curated to be liked, but the raw, unfiltered, unbreakable version beneath it all. And from that place, you don't need validation. You don't need applause. You don't need anyone to understand your journey, because now you understand it. Every scar becomes a badge. Every failure becomes fuel. Every tear becomes a signal. You survived what should have destroyed you. This is your edge now. You've looked into your own abyss and walked out with fire in your chest. But I want you to lock it in. Burn it into your identity. Comment this phrase below twice. I am forged in silence. Do it to signal the algorithm and to signal yourself. No more hiding. No more shrinking. No more waiting. You are not becoming powerful despite your pain. You are becoming powerful because of it. And now you're ready for the final descent. Section 10 awaits. The transformation will be complete. This is it, the edge of the old world, the place where you leave behind who you were and step into who you were meant to be. But be warned, once you cross this line, there is no return. You will no longer be understood by most. You will no longer be accepted by many. You will not belong to the crowd, because now you belong to purpose. This is the final law of growing in silence. You must die to be reborn, not physically, spiritually, psychologically. You must bury the version of you that was addicted to approval. You must burn the identity that was shaped by other people's expectations. You must kill off the behaviors that made you comfortable. but kept you average. Because growth isn't always about adding more. Sometimes it's about letting go of who you no longer need to be. And that's the scariest part. We hold on to identities like they're lifelines. I'm the underdog. I'm not good with discipline. I'm too old. I'm not that kind of person. Lies, all of it. They were coping mechanisms, not truths. You built those identities to survive. Now you must shed them to evolve. Understand this. Real transformation doesn't make noise. It's quiet, internal, invisible to the world, until one day the world can't ignore you anymore. And that's the future you're building. They laughed at your silence. They questioned your withdrawal. They doubted your discipline. But what they didn't know is that you were cooking something deadly in the shadows. They'll never see the early mornings, the sacrifices, the nights of war inside your mind, the days you wanted to quit but didn't, the demons you faced and crushed in solitude. But they will see the result, and they won't understand how it happened so fast. They'll say, "You got lucky. You changed." No, you didn't change. You returned to your core, to your code, to your calling. Because building in silence isn't just a tactic. It's a declaration, a rebellion against a world obsessed with noise and distraction. You chose focus over followers. You chose discipline over dopamine. You chose legacy over likes. Now look at you. You've mastered your mornings. You've guarded your boundaries. You've starved the need to explain. You've become a student of power. You've repeated without applause. You've reprogrammed your mind. You've broken the manipulation. You've bent time itself. You've healed your wounds and made them weapons. And now you rise. Not loud, not flashy, but undeniable. A force, a problem, a storm they never saw coming. From this moment forward, you are not waiting for a new chapter. You are the plot twist. So walk with silence, speak with purpose, act with fire. And when the world finally turns to ask, "How did you do it?" you won't answer. You'll let your life scream what your words never needed to say. This is how you grow in silence. This is how you become undeniable. Now go vanish, go build. And when you return, make sure they no longer recognize you.